Okay.
On.
We're ready to go. Okay. Formal written advance notice is required by NJSA 10-4 has been provided at this meeting at least 48 hours in advance of today, giving the time, date, and location, and to the extent known at the time, the agenda of this meeting. Such notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken. The notice was posted on the bulletin board outside the offices of the municipal clerk, reserved for this and other similar announcements, provided to the Suburban Trends, the newspaper designated by the Borough Council to receive such notices, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Can we stand for a pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Minutes. We have two sets of minutes. One's the regular meeting of June.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call, sorry. I'm so excited. That's good, she does. Can we have a roll call, please?
Okay. Mr. Silverstein?
Here.
Mr. Quigley?
Here.
Abby's absent. Mr. Ross?
Here.
Mr. Siopa? Mr. Kimberlin? Councilman Bennett?
Here.
And Mayor Sarah?
Okay.
And Mr. Dial.
Here. Okay. Can you check with Dean as to how many meetings he's
Yes.
missed? Please?
Mhm.
Okay. Now we can go to the minutes. First is the regular meeting of June 20th, 2024. We have a motion.
So moved.
Moved. We have a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone voting present? Second is the executive
Me and
meeting
Ken.
at June 20th. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Wait, where are we?
What?
Are we done? Are
What?
we doing the resolution already?
No, we're doing the minutes.
Second set of minutes.
Executive session, come on. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone voting present?
That was me and Ken also.
Okay. We have no correspondence, but we do have one correspondence, and that was from Liz Brandeis, which basically was the council approval of the resolution for a shared service agreement, which is the same resolution that we hope we will pass tonight. Other than that, there were none. We have no conceptual presentations, we have no formal application. I skipped the executive director's report, sorry. Anything to report?
Nothing really new. I have not received that monthly report from 223.
Nor did he start, as we thought he was going to do.
I mean, I reached out to him, but I haven't heard back from him yet. So
Okay.
if I get something, substantial, I'll certainly share it, email. But nothing new there.
Okay, I mean, the mayor told me that he's pulled all his permits, he's paid for all the permits, but he just doesn't start. So,
Well, while we're on that, I called the director to let him know, because Mr. Brewer, I told him it's the same thing. Our building department has no responsibility for the 60-day notice.
right, that's,
This
we do.
board is the one that would put the pressure through the, maybe Andy can explain to what the penalties will be if he doesn't start in 60 days.
You can,
Or get
yeah,
getting
leverage.
a permit, right?
yeah,
And have leverage to terminate the agreement and to recommend to the governing body to terminate the pilot. Pilot's the biggest thing, that makes it a huge value, so that's the leverage that you have.
okay.
Now, I did talk to the building department, and he said, he paid $47,000 for his permits. He doesn't think he's walking away.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's-
And millions for the property.
Right.
Mhm.
No, that's not a flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, I just don't know why he didn't start, but, okay, so that's, Ben's report. We do have one resolution actually, which is, to approve the shared service agreement between the agency and the borough. And Mr. Brewer, I'll let you explain that and, where we are with
On
the
number two.
executive director, okay?
Number one is, you may know the conversations the last several months, the executive director, the relationship between us and the executive director, it's an employee relationship. And the state of New Jersey has a mechanism, it's kind of a way for municipalities and municipal entities and governmental entities to save money sometimes, where you can have shared services. You have an employee from one governmental entity, you can have an agreement between the entities to share the services where one provides it to the other. So that is since the borough has human resources and employees and things like that. We discussed it and to have a shared services agreement between this agency, the redevelopment agency, and the borough. So the executive director would be an employee, and a shared service is that the borough would provide that service, that employee, to provide the executive director. So that's that is Resolution 24-286. It was adopted, reviewed, and adopted by the governing body last night. They are okay with it. So that's what that is. Number two, the resolution to appoint a new executive director. As you recall, our relationship with the executive director has not been an employee relationship. Typically, it's been a consultant. So in order to make a clean start, we decided to go through the whole process from the beginning. And that includes the DCA. You get pre-approval. You have to provide the resume, degree, and things to the DCA to pre-approve the appointment of executive director. That was provided. They are slow. They are hard to get in touch with me. They got in touch with me about 2 days ago. They are going to go through it. They need 1 or 2 other pieces of information, but that's not done yet by today. So you're not in a position where you don't have approval from the DCA to appoint a new executive director yet. So number 1, we can put in place, and I would recommend that you consider the adoption of the resolution to approve the shared services agreement so that the new executive director or the executive director would be an employee. Any questions?
None.
No questions, anyone? Everybody got that? Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the shared service agreement between the agency and the borough?
Motion.
Do we
Second.
have a second?
Backwards.
See what we did there? See what we
Yeah.
did there?
There you go, that's good.
I got it.
Keep me on your toes.
Yes.
Any discussion? The one thing that, I want to make sure everybody up here understands is, while this is an agreement between the 2 bodies, we are the body responsible for the hiring, not the mayor and council.
Thank
Okay.
God.
So
Those
with
leaders.
that, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Silverstein?
Yes.
Mr. Quigley?
Yes.
Absent. Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Seals is absent. Mr. Kimball is absent. And Councilman Venom?
Yes.
Okay. And we can't do the other resolution. I don't think we need an executive session tonight. Any public discussion?
I have one question.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Name and we know who you are.
Gilbert, 158 Mountainside Drive. Was curious about the permit. You said they have 60 days to start. How long is it been?
It's around June 6th or 10th.
Yeah, we think that the 60 days is up somewhere in mid-August.
Yeah.
We can get the exact
So they have
date.
another
Oh, yeah,
month to start
yeah.
the project.
Yep.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
that's it.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else from the public?
No.
Any of the chairs wish to speak to us? Seeing none, we'll close the public session. And any comments from the board?
I got just one thing.
Yes.
Last night at the council meeting, we had a presentation by the people that do the pilot programs, what?
Phoenix was the...
Phoenix is the name of the group that handles all our numbers. So when we put all these pilots together, they make sure they're the right numbers, and they give a presentation of what it is and what it means. And they basically said that, we're in the right ballpark of what we're doing. It's usually a 30-year pilot for the most part for bigger buildings. We have some built in already into our projects, mandatory numbers they have to pay in case something doesn't get built the right way. But they did say it's a partnership between the town and the builder. The builder's hoping it does well, the town is hoping it does well, because when both of them do well, you make more money. And he used some examples of how you get paid and where your money comes from. The biggest takeaway from the whole thing was, if you use your regular tax base, we're getting 20% of that number. That's what we get for the land. He said that if you get anything above 20% for the land portion, you're already ahead of the game, because you're only supposed to get 20. So some of our agreements are 40 or 50 or 60% if they don't reach the requirements that they're supposed to do. So even if they fault, we're ahead of what we're supposed to be collecting in local taxes. So they give about an hour-long presentation, and the council asked a lot of questions about why. And the one thing I can take away too is, and he mentioned that smaller projects like 4, 5, 10, sometimes don't need a pilot. He said they can. He said if it's an area that you want to, it's a blight and you want to build that area, a pilot gives an incentive to build in that area. But if it's just someone putting in for a pilot, they'll have to look at the numbers to make sure that it's worth doing a pilot for 4 or 5 or 6. So that's something to keep in mind as we move forward. I mean, if it's an area that we want to really redevelop, yes, that's why you would do it. But if it really is not a reason for that, the numbers are so small at that point, it doesn't really make a difference one way or the other. So that's what they said, they were about an hour.
Okay.
You were there, and
Yeah,
you guys can add it.
Yeah, it was good. I think part of it is, it's just not worth the brain damage for such a small project. And it just doesn't financially make sense. You have to monitor it for 30, 20 years, 30 years. They have to do audits and financial reports for 5, 10 in a building. It doesn't make sense.
And we did have a couple like, the building on, Denver Turnpike, that had no pilot, the 9 units, that had no pilot. So, you know, we've done a couple like that.
I wanted the council person to ask a good question. So it seems to me that pilots are used for residential and retail. And the gentleman said, well, it is mostly 90% of the time, but you can use it for warehousing and stuff. And then I brought up the fact that, remember when we did the Lila Shopping Center? There was no retail, there was no residential in that, when we used the pilot to separate those properties. So there are other options to use a pilot, but it doesn't involve
And the
residential.
complication there was that Lidle didn't want the pilot, but the rest of the building did. So that was, you know,
And the other thing that
Crazy.
he took out of mind, he said, to keep in mind that when you're doing a pilot, it's always, the outside, another council person had asked about the outside agencies, police, fire, first aid, all those things. They do take into account some correspondence on what that would mean, by looking at the numbers. They look at how many 3 bedrooms compared to 2 bedrooms, compared to 1 bedroom, they'll look at the schools. There are some districts that if they see a big increase in students, some of the pilot money might go to offset the cost of the school. I don't think we're at that point because we don't expect a lot of kids in a lot of the buildings that we're building, but it was an informational thing. If you have a chance, you can see it online, and if you guys want to get, you guys are pretty knowledgeable on this, but it was a good informational piece there.
yeah, I saw an article in, one of the local papers, down in the Millington area. I think it was in the Bernard's, paper, from North Jersey Media. And the Watchung Hills, I think it was Watchung Hills, Regional School District, without getting input from the mayor and council, passed a resolution that they are entitled to part of a pilot. It's a one-sided agreement. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but school boards are thinking about it. So, it's just something to keep in mind.
School boards never lose out. That's the first check.
Yep, no, everybody knows that. They never lose.
They always get their money.
Yep.
It's just, it's how it gets distributed, who pays that bill.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Get a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
That's a meeting.
There you go. Less than 15 minutes.
You were right.